11, the Great Bell Chant. Last week, our teacher Kunga said a couple of words about this bell chant, and because we had so many new faces arrive this morning, and it was wonderful to see everybody, I thought that I would also say a couple of words about this bell chant. Um, I recall that when I first came to the temple some years ago, this bell chant was the first thing that I heard, and I thought it was so strange. It freaked me out, and I didn't come back to the temple for quite some time. This bell chant is left over from, I don't know if leftover gives it the respect that it's due, but it's from the temple's original lineage, the Korean Taego order, and we've carried it over, although we don't practice in that lineage or that school anymore. That school specifically is at this time, but folks like this bell chant, and it has a lot of meaning for people at the temple and history at the temple that still has meaning today. So, the one thing I think I wanted to say was that in Buddhism, we're not often given the meaning. I recall that when I used to ask my teacher, what does this mean? The response was always, what does it mean to you? The words of the bell chant or the words and teachings in Buddhism often point, but not maybe take us to a meaning, but point at a meaning, and it often is, up to us to get there. So. Vowing that the sound of this bell pervades the universal Dharma realm, bringing luminous white light to the black iron perimeter of hell, removing in an instant the suffering caused by the three evil ways. A mountain of swords is destroyed, and all sentient beings enter enlightenment together. Homage to the Master Teacher, Vairocana Buddha, compassionate Lord of the lotus-born universe, expounding the treasured verses of the sacred golden text contained within precious cases written on jade scrolls. Each dust mote interpenetrates and the universe becomes one. Every realm is united with all other worlds. The truth is contained in the 1,095,048 words of the utmost vehicle's consummate teaching. Homage to the Avatamsaka Sutra expounded by the Buddha. To understand the Buddhas of endless time, just penetrate this phrase. Everything is created by mind alone. The mantra of shattering hell. Namu ata shijinam samyak samota juchinam om. Ajana baba jiri jiri hum. Namu ata shijinam samyak samota juchinam om. Ajana baba jiri jiri hum. Namu ata shijinam samyak samota juchinam om. Ajana baba jiri jiri hum. Vowing now for the rest of my life not to give rise to extraneous thoughts, following only Amitabha Buddha. Thought after thought will constantly merge with the rays of his jade-like brilliance, each instant never leaving the qualities of his golden form. Holding a mala and bearing witness to the universal Dharma realm, empty space is but a thread leaving nothing unconnected. There is nowhere that Vairocana Buddha is not present equally. Through contemplation, seek Amitabha of the Western Shore. Homage to the great teaching master, Lord of the Western Shore, the Buddha, the Tathagata of infinite light. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. The land of ultimate bliss has 10 kinds of adornment. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. It is adorned with Dharmakara's vow, his cultivation cause. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the power of Amitabha's 48 vows. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with Amitabha's name and the brilliance of his life force. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the bejeweled images observed by the 3 Mahasattvas. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the peaceful bliss of Amitabha's Western world. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with bejeweled rivers running with pure and meritorious waters. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with bejeweled basilicas with halls of wish-fulfilling jewels. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with lengthy days and nights. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the Pure Land's 24 kinds of pleasures. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the 30 kinds of beneficial merit. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha, who is unparalleled in heaven or on earth. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He is also unmatched throughout the worlds of the 10 directions. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He has seen the annihilation of self in everything in the world. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. There is no one who is like Amitabha Buddha. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can keep track of thoughts as numerous as all the dust motes in the universe. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can quaff all the waters in the universe. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can control the wind that fills space. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. No one can completely describe that Buddha's merits. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha is omnipresent. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Keep your thoughts on him and never forget, as thoughts probe that place of no thought, the 6 sense gates will constantly emanate light of purple and gold. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha's face, like the full moon, is at the front of the hall of ultimate bliss. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. His jade excrescence and his gold form radiate throughout space. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. If a person call his name for only a moment, they will instantly consummate immeasurable merit. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Along with all sentient beings, I vow together to enter the sea of Amitabha's great vows and to ferry across sentient beings so that I and others may simultaneously complete the path to Buddhahood. The sublime mantra of the original mind of Amitabha Buddha. Tanyata Om Haritara Swavaha. 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 continue to observe normal silence until service at 10 o'clock.
This time I'd like to invite our incense lighters up. And for the rest of us, if we can turn to page 2, we'll be doing our incense lighting gatha. In gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. Hello. My name is Sonshin. I use they, them pronouns, and I am one of the teaching monks here at the temple. It's nice to see so many old and new faces here. I have a couple announcements before we get started. Um, in case anybody needs to use restrooms at any time, right through these curtains here, we have two. And then right through the door downstairs, we also have an additional restroom down there. Also, if for any reason you need to step aside or step out, feel free to go downstairs. We have an extra space there. So we also have some Legos down there too if you need to play some Legos. Also, we ask that if you do have to get up at any point, that you walk along the back and not in front of the dais. And as you enter and leave, we ask that we give a quick bow to help us create a bit of a sacred space here. With that, why don't we stand up and greet each other? And I'm going to have us turn to page 3. We'll do our refuge chants together. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to practice mindful breathing and smiling, looking deeply into things. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to offer joy to one person in the morning and to help relieve the grief of one person in the afternoon. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. And if you could turn to the next page, we will do the Heart Sutra together. Dhamma prajna paramita hridaya bliss of prajna, paramita. Received the emptiness of all five skandhas, and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So their emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind. No realm of sight. No realm of consciousness. No ignorance. No extinction of ignorance. No old age and death. Nor extinction of them. No suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna. Paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all delusive views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Rani, the radiant, fearless mantra, the utmost supreme mantra, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, All right. In 1532, there was a book published by a author and philosopher named Machiavelli. Many of you know the name of the book already, probably. It's called The Prince. Many scholars consider this one of the first modern books of philosophy. And it's certainly become one of the most influential pieces of philosophy, certainly political philosophy, that we have. Went on to inspire just about all of our founding fathers, have listed it as one of the books that helped guide them, as well as many businessmen, just people in leadership in general. And in this book, Machiavelli proposes that sometimes it's justified to do immoral acts in order to fulfill a greater cause. There was a phrase that was in this book that became very famous, which was that the ends justify the means, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard before. All's well that ends well. You got to break a few eggs to make a cake. You get the idea, right? I've read it. It's okay. I actually have a book that I appreciate a whole lot more that I would like to read to you all. This is a book that was written quite a few years later, but I think has a much more profound philosophy. This is a book called Frog and Toad by Arnold Lobel. Also, this past week, if you pay attention, we had the very first day of fall. So I'm going to read my favorite story of Frog and Toad that also happens to be fall themed. And since maybe not everybody online can see the pictures, I'll do my best to also describe what I'm seeing, and hopefully I will show you all too. This is a story called The Surprise. It was October, and I know I'm a few days too early for this, but we'll pretend that it's October already. The leaves had fallen off the trees. They were lying on the ground. I will go to Toad's house, and I will rake all of the leaves that have fallen on his lawn. Toad will be so surprised. So Frog took a rake out of the garden shed. Toad also looked out his window. These messy leaves have covered everything, said Toad. He took a rake out of the closet. I'm going to run over to Frog's house, and I will rake all of his leaves. Frog will be very pleased. So Frog ran through the woods so that Toad would not see him. And Toad ran through the high grass so that Frog would not see him. Frog came to Toad's house. He looked in the windows. Good, said Frog. Toad is not here. He'll never know who raked his leaves. Toad got to Frog's house. He looked in the window. Good, said Toad. Frog's not home. He's never going to guess who raked his leaves. Frog worked hard. He raked the leaves into a pile. Soon Toad's lawn was completely clear. Frog picked up his rake and started home. Toad pushed and pulled on the rake. He raked all the leaves into a giant pile. Soon there was not a single leaf in Frog's front yard. Toad took his rake and started home. On the way home, wind came and blew across the land. The pile of leaves that Frog had raked for Toad blew everywhere. The pile of leaves that Toad had raked for Frog blew everywhere. This might be a little sad, but you can see the leaves are falling back into the yard. When Frog finally got home and saw all the leaves all across his yard, he said, "Tomorrow I'll clean up my own leaves. They're all over my lawn." But how surprised Toad must be. And when Toad got home, he said, "Tomorrow I'm going to get to work on my own yard and break all these leaves." But just imagine how surprised Frog must be. That night, Frog and Toad were both happy when they each turned out the light and they went to bed. The end. I really love that story because sometimes the greatest acts of compassion and love don't really provide any sort of material gains. They both went to bed that night feeling such love and gratitude for having helped the other friend out, raking their yard for them, even though they came home to a yard full of leaves. Sometimes doing good deeds feels like raking a yard in the wind. Machiavelli said that the ends justify the means, but I'm going to propose the Frog and Toad way of life, that sometimes the means justify the end. And I'll even go a step further. I'm going to say, where the hell is this ends anyway? As a queer person and as a person from Mexican descent living in the United States, we've been waiting for our ends for a very long time. It's been promised to us by just about every politician for about 100 years. We've had to endure a whole lot, but it's going to be worth it, right? Once we get our ends. The means justifies the ends is what allowed Hamas to go in during a concert, murder thousands of people, and kidnap 50. The means justifies the ends is what allowed Israel to then commit genocide and completely decimate Gaza. It's all going to be okay because in the end, everything's going to be all right. Who's heard that before? Unfortunately, this magic end doesn't seem to ever really exist. What does exist is right now, today, the things that we're doing as we sit here. And as we sit here, we're connected to, every single step that got us here. The entire past is with us as we're here. And in every moment that in every movement that we do, and every word that we speak, it echoes into the future. Not only do we have to think about the means, but the means are all there are. There's no end. Even when we pass away, it's not over. If anybody's ever lost a loved one, which we all have, their end is not over. They're still here in our actions. The echoes of everything that we ever spoke are still rippling. Sometimes we just have to rake the leaves in the wind because we know it's the right thing to do. Be wary of anybody who promises you something for tomorrow as long as you suffer today. I'm going to try to win an award today for the world's shortest talk. I think I want most of this talk to sit with you and kind of bloom throughout your week. And I hope you all come out of it with a different story and your own take on it. But I do want to spend some time to just sit with it and sit together. And every time you see a leaf fall in this next coming month, I want you to think of Frog and Toad. I want you to remember what it actually means to be a compassionate person and what it means to push off your compassion to, well, I can be an asshole today because it's going to work out tomorrow. With that, why don't we prepare ourselves for some meditation? At this time, I'd like to open up the floor for joys and concerns, comments, questions. Those are allowed too. So if anybody has anything they'd like to reflect on the past week, just raise your hand and we will get a mic to you.
Hi, my name's Ellen. Our son lives and works in Thailand, and he participated in I don't know if you could call it a run because there was swamps and mountains and stuff, but it was 30K, and he trained for it and so on. And so with the time difference, they're 12 hours ahead of us. We kept thinking we should hear something by the time we got up. We hit the phones, we got nothing. More time went by, we still hadn't heard. And so finally, just before we left to come here, he said, "I'm not dead." An elephant did not squish me, but they had to call it, and he was only at 22K at that point because of weather, and it was awful. But he lived to tell, and so we were like, whew, grateful. So that's it.
Good morning. My name is Philip. I use he, him pronouns. I have many concerns and many struggles, but I also have many joys. And last night, I'm new to the area, and I'm very blessed to live in this part of the state. I live in North Muskegon, and last night we were able to have our final drum circle on the beach at Pere Marquette, and it was 20 drummers, a fire, a whole bunch of other people. We drummed from prior to sunset all the way until the cops put the kibosh on us. And it was a true joy.
Hi, it's I'm not a Pula Baba. I'll share some joys. Last Saturday, I celebrated 2 years of sobriety. Super exciting, right? I got to spend that with my sponsor and his other sponsee up in the UP. Went to Squaminon Falls. I got to swim in Lake Superior and then hike back barefoot. That was the highlight, walking back barefoot in the mud and sandstone. It was so beautiful. Susan Davis, Anando, I can never say that name, took us on our horseback carriage ride on Mackinac Island. Other joys, when I walked in, I heard your voice doing the morning bell chant. It just brought joy to my life. And then seeing the new preceptors greeting and doing the incense. It's super exciting. Proud of you guys for being this part of the journey. Super excited to be here. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Chris. This is my first time here. I just kind of wanted to reflect on past couple of weeks. I think I've been more joyful for life and grateful. And some people are very ungrateful for what they have, but I am content with what I have. And I don't really, wish for more, but I want to, spread my joy to people, because some people are really just like stuck in like side of themselves and they don't realize what they have in front of them. And I just want to spread joy to everyone.
Hi, my name is Laura, and this week I procured a job after many, many months of looking. So Sonshin is my in-law, and so he will not have to support me now.
I have one. Some of you may know that I'm a bit of a metalhead, and I was able to go to a death metal show headlined by Cannibal Corpse this last weekend, and it was a whole lot of fun. And if y'all don't know, some of the best concerts you'll ever go to are death metal shows. Everybody is so like nice, and everybody has been to like 100 concerts, so the etiquette is perfect, and it's very loving and doesn't seem like it, but it is. Trust me on this. So I am very grateful for Corpse Grinder and Cannibal Corpse and all the joy that they have brought me.
My sadness that also kind of became a joy is I had tickets to that show, but I got sick. And like in the past, and I know this isn't cool, especially post 2020, I've tried to be more responsible because I realized I used to be like, I never got sick as like an elementary schooler through like high school and stuff. It turns out I just pushed myself through every bout of everything. But I made the call to be like, as much as I want to go see all 4 of these bands, which I mean, it was an amazing lineup. I gave my ticket to my brother and a friend of ours. And so I got to send them to their first death metal show, which they had never experienced. My brother's more of like a Peach Pit kind of fan. And I got to send him to see Cannibal Corpse, Full of Hell, Municipal Waste, and Fulci, who I've seen before. And so I got to get a bunch of videos of them, and they went into the pit and stuff, which is so cool. So
I have since aged out of the pit, but I did get punched in the ear once. So at the show, and I lost. Oh, I lost my earring because it popped out, but I found it. That's yeah. Mm-hmm. It was a punch of kindness. It wasn't that. Do we have anybody online? Okay.
Hello, my name is Gene. I have a joy to share. Earlier this month, the engraved brick my family and I purchased in memory for my dad was finally installed. I'm grateful to have a spot to visit him.
Anybody else? All right. Well, why don't we take a few moments just to hold it all in? That counted as the first hit. I have some announcements. We have an online meditation group that meets 6 to 6:45 p.m. Via a Zoom link, and you can contact Kunga for more information. Also, all of these things are included in our newsletter. So if you are signed up for our newsletter, then you don't have to try to remember all the dates and the times and the people and stuff like that. We also have our Thursday Dharma discussion group that meets Thursdays 9:30 to 11 a.m. Right now, they're discussing Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet by Thich Nhat Hanh. And you can get a hold of Reverend Jingsu, or also see the newsletter for more information on that. On Saturday, October 11th, which is coming up pretty soon here at 9 a.m., we are doing a Fundamentals of Buddhism class, and that'll be ran by myself and Nasanskara. So if you're looking for just a general foundational information about Buddhism, this would be a great place to start. We're going to be covering some of the basic Buddhist philosophy, meditations, texts, how to implement Buddhism practically into your life. And so feel free to reach out for more information or see our newsletter. We also have our Buddhist Mutual Aid Sangha that meets on the second Sunday of the month. The next meeting is on Sunday, October 12th, and we'll meet after the service at 11:30. And the goal of this group is to help create a community of mutual support, guided by the principles of the Dharma. And again, you can see the newsletter for more information. We also have our Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple Board meeting that's going to be meeting on Sunday, October 19th. And that is going to be right after the service at 11:30. And we'll be meeting downstairs or through Google Meet. Anybody is invited to attend that. I do know that we are actively looking for more people to join the board as well. So if there's anybody who would like to serve in that aspect, feel free to come by on the 19th and ask any questions. Also, feel free to reach out to any of the current board members or John, who I don't see today. It would be somebody to reach out to as well. We also have our fall silent retreat that's going to be on Saturday, October 25th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we just ask that you register before October 24th. And this will be a full day meditative retreat. Usually we kind of try to fill it with a lot of practices from all of our teachers here, including the Soto Zen tradition, the Tibetan Buddhism tradition, as well as just our temple here's traditions that we've had for the past, 10, 15 years. We also have on the 26th, the Ulambana potluck following the service here at the temple. So Ulambana Day is, for lack of a better term, kind of our Buddhist Halloween or our All Saints Day, Day of the Dead. It's just a time that we commemorate those who have passed in our lives, as well as to honor them, as well as talking about the Ulambana Sutra, which we'll be discussing on that day as well. So feel free to bring a dish to pass on that day, or just bring an empty belly as well, if you're not a very good cook or don't have the means. Or we do ask that if you bring something, just to mark the ingredients, just in case there's anybody with any allergies or intolerances that they want to know about. We have a lot going on in October. We also have our Buddhist-based recovery meetings. They meet on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. here at the temple, Wednesdays at 6:30 at the Alano Club, and then also on Fridays at 10:05 a.m. And that is either here at the temple or via Zoom. And feel free to reach out to Dress and Shoe or see the newsletter for more information on that. Do we have any more announcements? Yes. Do you want?
Hi, Sangha. I'm Prasanna Kasama Bava, and I will be taking over the monthly temple cleaning. There is an announcement in the newsletter, but my email is new and I'm still working through some glitches. So if you reached out to me, it probably bounced back. So if you are interested in helping with the monthly deep cleaning the basement, the kitchen, and just making sure everything is in order here, please come find me. And I hope to get that up and running shortly.
Anybody else? Okay, no more announcements. I do have a couple end of service reminders, just to kind of do your best to leave the space as you found it. If that includes kind of straightening out the cushions, we'll have people going around to collect the chant books as well. And then there'll be some of us meeting downstairs for some tea after the service as well. So if you have any questions or just want to meet some people, that'd be a good place to do that as well. With that, why don't we stand, and we're going to turn to page 6 for our closing gathas. For all unskillful actions ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a form of sealed with benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to enter. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. And if we could have one side of the room face the other, we'll give each other one last closing vow. Thank you all. You have a good week.